Welcome on into the final show of the week here on WagerTalk Extra, getting you ready for UFC and also getting you some KBO and NPB Japanese baseball plays and in Korean baseball as well. We're going to be talking the Dern and Hill fight with my man Kyle Anthony coming up here, main event play for you, and then his fight to watch coming your way as well. And then Tokyo Brandon going to shut things down for us. He has got his best bet on the card that he'll be giving out for free to end the show here. And he's also got a series that he'll be previewing in the KBO. So all that action coming your way here on Wager Talk Extra. I'm your host, Dan Alexander, alongside those aforementioned guests, reminding you no matter what sport you're cashing in on, that money all spends the same. And we've been spending all kinds of money with my man Kyle Anthony all year long. Kyle, good to see you, my guy. Let's get right into it with this main event. Dern and Hill. It's ladies' night in UFC, at least for the plays you're bringing our way. How are we betting this one, brother?
Yeah, so we got Mackenzie Dern minus 190. On the comeback here, Angela Hill plus 155. Now, the first thing here when you're looking at this fight is going to be the fact that Mackenzie Dern is going to have the grappling advantage big time when you're looking at this fight here. She's lethal. Once it gets to the ground, she's going to submission hunt. She's going to keep pressuring. That's her style. That's what she does. On the other side here, you got Angela Hill, who crafty veteran, well-rounded. But the big question here when you're looking at this fight is going to be, can Dern take Hill to the ground? That's her path. That's what she's going to be looking to do. But there are some issues when you're looking at the favorite here. And Dern, she has an 11% takedown success rate. Not very good when it comes to the UFC, and that being your biggest path overall. But when you're looking at it, she does a couple different things to try to be creative. What she basically does is kind of latch onto an arm when you're standing or jump on your back. We saw that against Tisha Torres. She went out there, jumped on her back, jumped on her arm, tried to find submissions, and unable to get the fight to the ground. Even, you see her pull guard. She'll jump on someone, lean back, try to get you in her guard. Even if she's on her back, she's very comfortable and secure in the fact that this is going to be where she wants it to be. She's going to have the physicality advantage. That's going to be important for her too, trying to muscle her way down. But Hill on the other side here, she's got a 65% takedown, 65% defense rate on takedown. So she is able to kind of withstand some of that. And there's a couple different things here. So if she can withstand some of that, the striking advantage will go to Hill. Hill had the crisper striking, the better combinations, better footwork, and I think one of the biggest things is she's going to have the volume advantage. There is no doubt Dern struggles with the volume, with having that output. Hill is very good when it comes to that. She always has that volume, always has that output, and I think that's going to make it a little bit difficult for Dern, looking to cut that distance, looking to get her hands on you. That's going to be very difficult with this volume, cutting the distance and all of those things. I think also the fact that she really does struggle with fighters who are rangy. And that, again, is if you look at the last few fights that Dern had, she struggled with them, rangy combinations from the distance, coming in and out, defending the takedowns. That's how Dern loses. And that's really where I think Hill could take advantage of it. And if you're also looking at it, there's no doubt that Dern has increased her striking. She's gotten a little bit better. And that is great and all, but there's only one path for her in this fight, and it's going to be seeking that submission. And I really think this is a spot where Hill is going to have the opportunity to just out-volume her completely. And I don't really think that Dern, listen, we saw Kron Gracie not long ago. Although Dern is a better striker than Kron Gracie, but the same thing. If you can't get the fight to the ground where you want it to be, how do you win the fight? And I think that we have seen Hill. She is getting a little bit older when it comes to that, but I do think the volume, this now going from 3 rounds to 5 rounds, I think helps Hill. So I think that Hill can pick apart her from a distance, maybe some dicey situations on the ground, but I think Hill can volume her, outland her, and win on the scorecards, and at least grabbing 3 of those rounds. So Hill plus 155, I think, is a good number. If you want a little bit more, Hill be a decision plus 200. I don't think there's going to be a finish here. I think it's pitter-patter shots. So I do like Hill, just Hill straight, plus 155 to get the job done.
Taking the dog here, and great point there for folks who maybe are new to the UFC. You're not privy to how it goes. Anytime it's the main event, even for these UFC fight nights, doesn't have to be a championship round to have, or a championship fight to have those championship rounds. That was a change that happened quite a few years ago with the UFC, that any of these, headline fights, the main event fights, automatically 5-round fights. So saying that's going to go the way of the dog, I'm not going to be arguing with Kyle Anthony, the best handicapper when it comes to the UFC that sure Wager Talk has to offer. I'd throw down the gauntlet that the world has to offer. How about that one, Kyle? So,
I'll
all
take
right,
it.
brother, let's get into this second play that you have for the folks. It's your fight to watch. I guess first, why are you excited for this fight coming up? And secondly, how are we going to be betting it?
I think this is a really interesting fight just because the trajectory of both of these females and kind of where they are. Now, you've got Karolina Kowalkiewicz on one side. She's minus 145 on the comeback here on Vanessa Demopoulos, plus 115. Now, right away, the name recognition of Karolina, I think, kind of pushed this line a little bit wider. She has been in the UFC a while. She is definitely the vet when it comes to both of these. And as soon as she entered the UFC years ago, they threw her into the deep end, fought very, very top-level talent overall. I mean, she ended up fighting Ioana Jędrzejczyk, Claudia Gadelha, Michelle Waterson, Alexa Grasso, Jan Shonan. I mean, these are some top-level, tough females. And she won some, lost some, but overall, good kickboxing, good Muay Thai. I like the way that she keeps her combinations going. There's a lot of good things that she can do. Now, the one issue here that I see when capping this fight was the flurries, the way that she enters the pocket. And I think the big part here really is when the flurries come in, I think this is a great landscape for Vanessa Demopoulos to look for those takedowns. Now, she's going to have that strength advantage over Karolina. And I think that's very massive in the apex cage, smaller cage. I think that you're going to see Karolina push forward a little bit. That's where the level changes are going to happen, utilizing some of that strength. But also on the fact of it is that she is no slouch on the ground either. Now, Karolina, she's pretty good on the ground. She definitely has that ability, but people kind of sleep on what Vanessa offers. She's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. She has credentials when it comes to the ground. Now, on the striking side of things, she just looks for the one big hook, but she's just throwing big power, trying to cut that distance, get her hands on her opponent. While on the other side, Karolina, she needs to have this volume, and that's one thing that she does not have. She's very low volume. She has not much power behind her shots. It's more pitter-patter. She has slower kind of, I would say, more plodding style as she walks through the cage. She's not really light on the feet as much either. And I think this is a spot where you can see Karolina, start to kind of have an opportunity where she's getting smothered up against the fence. Cage pushed, held there, looking for takedowns. And I think once she's on the ground, I don't think she gets up from Vanessa due to the strength overall. But if you look at it since 2018 or between 2018 and 2021, Karolina went 0-5. Now, she fought some tough opponents, no doubt, but over that 0-5, she was finished twice. Out of the 3 decisions, she didn't even win a round, didn't look good. Now she's come back. She's 2-0, which also, okay, great, looks good. But if you look at who she beat Felice Herring. Felice Herring was on her retirement fight and was on an 0-4 run when she beat her. Then most recently, she beat Gomez Suarez, who's 1-3 in the UFC. So these are not big fights, big wins to really write home about. Not that Vanessa has faced the high level, but I think this is really a big difference here. I think the strategy's there and the path is there for Vanessa. So I do like Vanessa Demopoulos here. Plus 115, I think is a good number. I think it makes a lot of sense. And again, I believe that the name recognition kind of pushes this a little bit apart. So I do like Vanessa Demopoulos to get the job done, plus 115.
Man, all about the dogs here today. I'm loving it. Finding the plus money for the folks. That's the Kyle Anthony difference. I think you mentioned to before you went on, you also have a play that you're loving this weekend, another 5%er that people can grab. And when Kyle has 5%, you run, you don't walk to grab those. So what else are people going to find locked and loaded for UFC Fight Night for my man Kyle Anthony this weekend?
Yeah, so this weekend we got a 5% max play. Feeling good about it. It's a plus money play right now, so I really like it. Also, out of my 3 plays that I got loaded, 2 of them are plus money. Really liking the spots there. Probably going to have a 4th play going to be added prior to fight night. So I'm excited, man. Got to keep it going. Just cashed both 4% last weekend, so we got some momentum. Let's keep it going, man.
Yeah, let's keep it rolling. And of course, it's a 5% that's a plus money. That's the Kyle Anthony difference, as I said. He finds a way to not only cash them, but not having you lay in that vig play after play. That's why he's one of our favorites here on WagerTalk Extra. And here on a Throwback Thursday, why not grab his half price action right now? Every Thursday, we roll back the prices, slash them in half for you. And that's our little thank you for watching the live content that we do here each and every day. We're going to step aside. Don't worry. You got a top-rated play for free coming your way from a man Tokyo Brandon right after this here on WagerTalk Extra. Welcome on back, and what's a better way to end the week than talking a little Asian baseball with the master himself here on WagerTalk Extra. Tokyo Brandon joining us from along the way. He's getting ready and raring for the WagerTalk meet and greet coming up this August 19th at the Westgate in sunny Las Vegas. And yes, they have air conditioning, which will be important for August in Las Vegas. So, Brandon, I say we get right into it. My first true love in Asian baseball is the KBO, and you wanted to break down this weekend series and what you expect to see between KT and Doosan. How are you going to be betting this one, Brando?
Yeah, by the way, I'm from Arizona, so Las Vegas heat is not quite as bad. I actually had a really terrible car when I was in college that I drove from Phoenix to Tucson without air conditioning on the hottest day in history of Arizona. It was 123 that day. But anyways, on to the plays. There's a 3-game series going on between the Doosan Bears and the KT Wiz, and I'm looking forward to this because these are two horrific bullpens. And although, one of these teams is not a real good hitting team, I'm going to be looking to bet a lot of overs in this 3-game series because neither team has any pitching worth talking about. How bad are the bullpens? Well, KT's bullpen has a collective ERA of 5.28, which is just awful. But, the way MLB is going this year, that might be in the upper half. But Doosan's bullpen has a collective 4.93. So when you put these teams together and actually break down how they match up together. So far this season, they're only averaging 8.7 runs per matchup, but I expect that to go up. Like I said, neither team has really good rotation, and both teams have the 9th and 10th ranked bullpens out of 10 teams. Just awful. Runs per game and WOBA, if we want to look at the lineups, KT has the 4th ranked lineup right now. Doosan's ranked 8th, but actually in the last 7 days, they've improved on that. Last 7 days, runs put up by these two teams, averaging almost 9 runs per game if you match them up together. And on the whole season, about 8 runs a game. So when the lines come out for any of these games in the 3-game series that's coming up this weekend, if you see an 8, definitely bet the over. If you see an 8.5, I would bet the over on that too. If you see a 7, slobber, throw your wife away, run to the book and bet the over on that. But yeah, likely it's going to be 8, 8.5. If you see 8 and 8.5, bet the over. I would even bet over on a 9. I doubt there'll be 9s though. Probably see 8.5, and I'm going to bet overs for all 3 games of this series.
Man, great breakdown there, Brandon. And I guess you're coining a new phrase of "throw your wife away." That's the first time that I've ever heard that.
Because
one.
she's
So
probably standing between you and the window, so just throw her out and get to the window quickly is what I meant.
That's the term when Tokyo Brandon has a 5%er. Throw your wife away and make sure you bet the 5%er. All right, that's good to know there,
exactly.
Brandon. So looking for the overs in that series, and if you see a 7, run, don't walk, and grab that.
Throw your wife
all
away.
the way up to 8. Around 8.5. Great breakdown there, brother. Let's get into the Japanese baseball side of things. And you have a best bet and one of your highest rated plays in this Yokohama Baystars and Yakult Swallows game. You got a money line bet for the folks. What are we doing?
Yes. So Trevor Bauer, if you remember him, he's had 3 starts for this Yokohama Baystars team. And he's got a 7.8 ERA in those 3 starts. So things not going well for the former Cy Young winner. However, he starts on Tuesdays. As you know, in Asian baseball, they have weekly starts. They actually assign weekdays to the pitchers. So he is the Tuesday pitcher for the Yokohama Baystars. We're not going to be seeing him, but we will be seeing tonight Imanaga. Imanaga, if any of you watched the World Baseball Classic, he was one of the starting pitchers, pitched great. He's an absolute stud. He has a ring on his finger for winning a championship back in 2015 or 16, a couple of years ago, but he's still a stud. He's matched up with a what I would consider a tomato can in Japanese baseball, a guy with an ERA this season of 6.05, which is just unheard of in Japanese baseball. I like to compare the pitchers this season, and I also like to look at their last 3 years weighted. So this season, Imanaga versus the tomato can. We have a 3.38 ERA versus a 6.05 ERA. Advantage Imanaga. Let's look at their whips. Imanaga has a 1.08 whip compared to a 1.50 whip. A 1.50 whip in Japanese baseball is just awful. Because as you know, these scores in Japanese baseball tend to be quite low, whereas they're in the 8s, between 8 to 8.9 in the KBO and in Major League Baseball this season. In Japan, game scores are averaging about 6.8 runs per game. So if you have a 1.5 whip, you're terrible. Last 3 years weighted, Imanaga has a huge advantage. He's got a 2.74 ERA compared to a 4.91. And FIP, which is kind of a predictive number that I like to use. I use the FIP to kind of even out the ERA, because ERA doesn't tell you the whole story. So even the FIP, Imanaga is a 3.20, whereas Takanashi, who is the aforementioned tomato can, has a 4.69 FIP in the last 3 years. So I'm all over Yokohama in this one. Lineup as well. Both lineups are pretty heavy hitters. Long ball, lots of home runs, lots of runs. But as far as recent form, Yokohama's in better recent form. The Yakult Swallows are on a terrible losing streak. They've fallen down to number 5 ranked out of 6 teams in the Central League, whereas Yokohama, I call them DNA. Yokohama's riding high in first place on a big roll. I love the Yokohama Baystars to beat the Yakult Swallows tonight with Imanaga on the mound. What I've done, actually, this is my best play of the day, and I put it out for my clients as a 4% play, but I'm giving it out to the wonderful listeners and viewers of this show. What I've done is I put 3% on the money line, which was minus 150, and I'm putting 1% on the run line, which is actually plus 110. So I'm kind of making it a combo play of a minus 1. But I like 3% on the money line and 1% on the run line in this play, all over the Yokohama Baystars tonight in Japanese baseball.
A true man of the people there, giving you the top-rated play for free here. That's why it pays to be subscribed here to WagerTalk TV. And you never miss any of our great shows.
You might not have to throw your wife away to get to the window on that one.
Yeah, you might not. But Brandon's always ready too, if need be.
Keep her around.
He's also got loaded over at his page. You saw there just a few moments ago. He's got a top-rated MLB play that's featured here for tonight. So with giving away a free play, you could grab that or take advantage of our lucky 7-11 promo that we're running. It expires this Sunday. You can get 11-day all access for the price of 7. No code needed. Just check that out at our checkout page. And that's going to do it for us. So appreciate you coming on, Brandon, fitting us into the tight schedule that Tokyo Brandon holds there. And that's going to shut it down for a week. Sorry to you F1 fans. We can't control the weather, though. Andy Lang will be back next week breaking down NASCAR and F1, getting you that info you know and love. And big thanks to Kyle Anthony getting us ready for the UFC event this weekend as well. So finishes us the week here, and we appreciate you tuning in. All we ask you to do, hit that little bell so you're subscribed, you never miss our great shows, and hop below in the comments. Let us know what you're going to be betting on in some of these extra leagues. Until Tuesday, we'll be back locked and loaded here on WagerTalk Extra, and we'll see you then. Best of luck.